everyone, and welcome back to Cool America Live. There are people who ride the waves, and then there are people who become them. Daisy Kelliher has been the calm in the chaos, the captain of confidence who led with fire, humor, and heart. From the decks of Below Deck Sailing Yacht to a brand new project shrouded in mystery, she's proving that leadership can be loud, soft, messy, and magnetic all at once. She's bold, she's unfiltered, and she is not afraid to evolve in public. Tonight, we're not meeting the chief stew you've seen on Bravo. We're meeting the woman behind it all, the dreamer, the risk taker, and the storyteller rewriting her own script. Hey, Daisy, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Thank you. What an introduction. I'm like, oh, who is this woman?
It's you.
I know. Well, look, I mean, it's the nicest thing anyone said about me in a long time. So, no, I'm
Well,
joking.
I'm so glad because it's also true. And people really love to describe you with these big words like bold and fearless and magnetic, and they are all true. But I mean, watching you lately, I feel like there's this softer kind of confidence, like you've kind of settled into something deeper. So, if you had to name this version of yourself, what do you think you would call her?
Oh, God. Oh, I see what you mean by your questions. Oh my God. Yeah, I think, I mean, one word would be a hard word to
Yeah.
describe, but I think, yeah, definitely a more evolved person. And I think, if you're not growing, what are we doing here? And what's, the mission and what are we trying to strive for? So I appreciate that comment because that kind of, yeah, means I'm doing something right and kind of, yeah, I definitely like to learn from my mistakes. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we all should. I mean, that's a lesson everybody could use a little more of. But you definitely do feel like someone who's finally found her rhythm. And I guess that kind of tracks for a woman who's really lived her life surrounded by water. So,
But there we go. That look, no pun intended. Yeah, I think I'm definitely pretty good at self-reflecting. And I think that's part of this journey and part of, being a woman and being an adult. And so I'm glad that that's being noticed because I see it in myself as well. So that's yeah, music to my ears.
I love that. So now, like, since you're on land, whenever you're on land too long, do you kind of start to miss the water?
Yeah, it's weird because I live in London now and it's we're not by the water, although I live kind of close to a river, which is nice, and I don't really feel it until I'm next to the water and then I'm like, "Oh wow, I have missed being by the water." So one of those things you don't miss it until you kind of realize it's gone or until you're connected with it again. But, that was a big period of my life and I still go back. Obviously, I filmed Down Under earlier in spring and I love going back to the water. I travel a lot, but I'm excited for my land life as well. But yeah, hopefully one day I win the lotto and I'll definitely have a nice big house overlooking the sea. That will be a goal of mine. It's very, yeah, calming.
It really is. I mean, I love the ocean so much. But it's really not even the view. It's like the sound and the pulse of it. It's like you can feel it in your body. It's
One
really
hundred.
great. Like you said, I love it so much. So because when you're on the water, you really do spend your world that never really like shuts off. The guests, the crew, the cameras. So when all of that goes quiet and it's just you, what does that piece look like for you?
Um, Anxiety. I'm like, I love being around people. I love being busy. And honestly, that quietness usually just brings my thoughts and my brain. And, depending where I am in life. So, like, if I'm working, I'm often just thinking about like what I haven't done, what I need to do, and what happened that day, processing that. Or then if I'm, maybe at another period of my life, I'm thinking about like my future, my life choices. So yeah, I actually really like being in really loud, busy environments.
Yeah. I can totally see that. I'm totally an overthinker too, so I get that, and that makes so much sense because I kind of feel you on that. I really do.
Yeah, some people are, I'm comfortable in myself and I'm comfortable with my thoughts and stuff. But I do think there are people that excel in quiet spaces and I think that's actually probably more the phrase you hear. Like you probably hear people being more open about like needing their alone time, needing, their quiet time. And I don't think people are as vocal as about like when you're like, yeah, I need to be around people. I'm like, I'm kind of done with me, overthinking everything. So I think for yachties, a lot of people who do join the yachting industry are normally most of the time people who kind of get their energy from other people, people who thrive being social and amongst other people. And so I'm definitely one of those people. So yeah, usually quiet time isn't actually that relaxing for me.
I love it. And see, that's the one thing that I really love about you because you make like this chaotic environment look cinematic, but it's like those normal moments that make you so real and relatable. And it's just a wonderful balance that you have found. I think it's really great.
Thank you.
So, of course. So you are always so responsible for everyone else's experiences in life. And now you're kind of steering your own. Has that changed what success feels like to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I am somebody who kind of thrives on doing a good job, somebody who whether that be through my career as chief stew on super yachts, I really enjoyed making other people's experiences unforgettable. I enjoyed being, really good at my job, and then that progressed into up into TV. And now, it is kind of finding success in another way, and finding joy in what I do. And whether that, I think now it's turning more into, rather than making people have unforgettable experiences and amazing holidays, now it's kind of turning into like entertaining people, making people feel, happy and laugh and things like that. And I want to be successful at that as well. I don't want to be like half entertaining. I want to like, walk away and be like, yeah, she's bringing it, whatever, I kind of do media wise. So, yeah, I think success, it has changed and it has evolved. And it's just being, I think for me at the top of my game of whatever I'm choosing to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like not about the applause anymore, but alignment and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Do you remember the moment that you kind of realized your life, you were like, okay, it's definitely not going back to normal now. Like we're too far in.
I don't, do you know what? I don't really, because I don't think there really was a specific moment. I think it really did evolve over a period of time. And, that the when the show, when I first originally did the show, we knew about Below Deck in yachting. It was big in America, but it wasn't really that big in Europe. And COVID changed that, and people, started really watching a lot of other different TV that they weren't usually watching, and it kind of became more worldwide and successful. And so that growth period was a little bit slow. Again, it was during COVID. So that transition of starting to get recognized and stuff wasn't really immediate, because when when we first filmed, it was in July 2020, only a few months after the first kind of lockdown, and we were still in lockdown. And then even when it got aired, it was still a lot of COVID protocols. Like I wasn't, doing Watch What Happens Live. That BravoCon that I was invited to that year was cancelled. So I never got, it wasn't like I walked out in the streets and I was like, oh my God, this is, it was a slow evolve. And whether it then be, getting asked back again, I never thought I'd be asked back again. That wasn't a goal. That wasn't what I thought I was, turning up for. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then the third time, I'm like, oh, you want me a third time? Like, you sure? Like, so there really wasn't like an exact moment. I think the first 2 years was kind of slower, and then it was the third year I was like, oh, I guess this is kind of my career now, at least for the moment. So yeah, it was a slow transition.
Yeah, that makes sense. But in all honesty, I wonder if that is a better way to be introduced. You're not just kind of thrown in. I mean, it would be interesting to hear both sides. You know
But
what I
I,
mean?
yeah, no, absolutely. And I do think for me, it is a more positive experience. And obviously, you hear of people like maybe they did Love Island, especially back in the day, or other shows and they just got like thrown into this limelight. And I think, doing it in a slower way definitely humbles you more. It does become more of a job. Like you have to keep working at it to stay relevant, to get recasted. It's not just good enough to be, a pretty face. Like you have to be good at your job, you have to be entertaining, you have to be, good to work with. And so I think a lot of those elements still keep you humble. And so as long, it's super fun how my life has changed. And there's been so many aspects of it that I consider great perks. I'm like, this is so fun. Like, but I think it still feels like a privilege now. It's still, I'm not taking it for granted. I'm not like, oh well, I'm on this huge show. Of course, I'm entitled to be at BravoCon. Every year they invite me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so happy they want me back again. That's
Yeah.
really nice. So I think the slow progression for me is definitely yeah, better. It's a job and it feels good to work at it and reap the rewards instead of feeling entitled to it. That makes
Right.
sense.
Absolutely. And that does make sense. And you handle it so well. And the fact that you are still so humble, I mean, you have this massive audience. So you're just still so humble and down to earth. And that is so refreshing and wonderful to hear because that's not something that you get very often. So kudos to you for being able to nail that down and really appreciate the journey that you're on. It's just really beautiful and powerful for you.
Yeah, it's feel every day I get to still kind of do it, and every year I get brought back. I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is gotta enjoy it while it's here, because yeah, you don't know how long it will go on for.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of your massive audience, I mean, everybody thinks that they know you because, I mean, you're on TV, you're living your daily life pretty much on TV. What is something that they really still don't, I guess, something they don't know about you, but you wish that maybe they understood more about you? Is there anything?
I think there's lots of aspects. I think, the reality is they do see a strong side of me when it comes to, my work ethic, my interaction with people, especially at work with the guests. But that's such a small part of my life. And I think, I've had so much more that happened before Below Deck, which, is private, like, whether it be about my family or my friends or things like that, that isn't necessarily relevant to what I'm doing now. But I do think a lot of people would be quite surprised to hear about things that happened in my past. And um I think they'd be quite shocked. And I think it would probably explain a lot, but they're irrelevant to my life now. And it's not stuff that I necessarily want to share, but I think it would give people a more well-rounded picture. And just, yeah, I think with everything, I think lots of things. I think I'm 100% my authentic self when I'm doing Below Deck, but that's still a job, and I'm still there working. That's, you know, very different to the way I am, on a Friday night or a weekend in London or on a holiday. So there's definitely facets of my life and parts of my personality or parts of me that a lot of people don't get to see. And yeah, I think they would just think I was more fun. So
Well, it is easy for people to forget that there is a real person behind the storyline. But you saying that you're your real authentic self, like I think that that is definitely something that people are going to start seeing more clearly now. Because you really truly are just very genuine. And you can just feel it in the vibe that you give off. So it's yeah, like I said, very refreshing.
good, good. I try to be.
So you've had those days where the whole deck is like on fire and somehow you're so calm. I've always wondered because I would literally be running around like a wild woman. Is that calm real or are you silently screaming inside while holding a champagne tray?
No, I think it is real. It turns out I'm quite a calm person. I've always been quite calm, like even like if we've had like, like medical emergencies, like pre the show, like I'm very much the one who's like, right, this is what we've got to do. This is who we've got to call. I'm just not a very panicky person. I don't know why. I don't know where that comes from. Yeah, I just don't. I have other things like I have anxiety. I think that's the main thing. I'll get like anxious about things or nervous, but I don't panic. I'm always like, ugh, it will be fine. I'm like, we're just serving rich people. Like, what's the worst that could happen? I'm really good at being able to put things into perspective and yeah, being able to kind of rationalize things and be like, okay, this is not that big a deal. We'll figure this out. So yeah, I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah. Well, that's a really wonderful trait. And we're gonna say like this, um, calm perspective. Like that's the Daisy trademark now.
I love that.
So you do talk a lot about being strong without losing softness, like which is so, so rare in leadership these days. Um, but what does that look like when you need a reset?
Um, what way do you mean? What in what sense?
Like, so whenever because you're so strong and you're the leader all the time, and you're always trying, I guess, helping other people because you're empathetic, we can see that. And you always try to help everybody else. But what about when you need a reset? Like you need a minute, you need to just take a break. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think that's a good question because I think there's actually a balance there. I think I actually do when I see somebody who, and it is the empathy in me, when I see somebody who's like upset or stressed or whatever they're going through, if I'm able to ease their pain, that actually like gives me less stress. So or makes me feel calm. So like, even something as simple as like they need rest. I'm like, you go rest, I'll do it. And then they're like, no, 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 you haven't rested yet. I'm like, this actually makes me feel better. So it's like, please, you go rest because I won't be able to rest if I think you're like upset or whatever. But I am somebody and kind of the flip side of that, I am somebody who can carry other people's energy. So, like, if somebody's super negative or things like that, I can kind of feel that weigh on me. And so, kind of realizing when you have to take a step back, so yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think there's definitely a balance to be had there, but I really do feel calmer and happier and more joyful when I've helped somebody else in whatever way that looks like, if I'm helping them with work or if they're sad about something or I've made them feel better or I've made them smile. So I guess really that's where I get my reset from.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, everybody's different, but it's like I actually I understand where you're coming from because I'm kind of the same way um as you. And but I have not balanced yet that carrying other people's energy as well as you have because you have like nailed it. I feel like you're so on it. I'm still over here like, "Oh man," like and I'll just get sad or something randomly. I'm getting better, but
So if that's all we can do, we can just work on ourselves, get better. That's we have our strengths and our not so strength areas.
absolutely. I've always been curious. So has there ever been like a moment that didn't really make the show, but it has stayed with you? Like maybe something that has defined how you want to lead, or maybe something that is you've just carried on your heart?
Ooh. I mean, I don't think really, I'm not sure about the show, but definitely my, when I first became a chief stew, I had a chief stew who, in my opinion, just was a bully. I really was like quite like floored about what I was experiencing. And it was only for a brief period, but I remember leaving that experience and being like, I am never working under someone again. And everything she is, I'm not going to be. So my next job, I became a chief stew. That was my next role pretty straight soon after that. And everything she was, I wasn't. And I was like, that really shaped me in a lot of ways about the leader that I wanted to be. And I think that's why it is important to one of the reasons why you have to come up under people and why I think it's important to work under different management styles, move around, move company, and to kind of suss out the kind of person you want to be and the person you don't want to be. So I remember that experience quite, it was only a month, but it was so impactful on my life and impactful on the person I became. And I'm like, really, I should be thanking her because she taught me a lot. And yeah, I think I became, I mean, for some people, a better manager. Maybe I'm not the kind of manager everybody wants, but I think I'm a good manager, and I think a lot of people like working with me, and I have her to thank for that. So
Yeah. I think that's so wonderful that you put that into perspective because, and I totally agree with you. I feel like coming up under different people's management styles and learning how to, I guess, acclimate to those, it's
yeah.
such an important trait. Like it's so important to get to do that. And I feel like it makes you better in aspects, not just in work, but in your life as well. So yeah, I think that I'm glad that you brought that up because that's really important for
No,
sure.
I definitely think it is, and I think we can, if you don't experience, different kinds of management style and different work environments, I think you can carry on those really bad habits. Like if I had just worked for that girl, from a young age, I would have known no better. I would have been like, oh well, this is just what being a manager is. But after that experience, I was like, this is terrible. I was like, this is an awful work environment. I've worked in really happy boats. I know what it's like to work in a nice environment. I was like, this is not it. And yeah, it really, really pushed me to get into my next chief stew role and become the chief stew that and manager that I aspire to be.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. I really do like it. Um, and so because you've worked with so many people, so many crews from all over, different backgrounds and languages and personalities. So is there a saying or a tradition that you kind of picked up from somebody that stuck with you? Maybe like a really funny one or anything like that?
I don't. No, I don't think so. I actually think they picked it up from me. I learned that I said really weird stuff. I was like there's a few things like so. I we say in Ireland we say necklace, like a lace around your neck, which
That
to
makes
me makes so much sense. I had no idea everyone else said necklace. No clue. Another one is Thailand again.
sense.
Thought like it's we say our THs like we've got a saying like this, that, these, and those. That's the way the TH goes. So we say Thailand. I didn't know everyone said Thailand, and people find this the funniest thing in the world. So I found out it throughout yachting. I say I am the weird one.
I think that's funny. And I I love that because but you are so right about necklace. Like I have said so many times because I used to teach. I was a teacher for a long time and I taught reading and writing and it's like it just doesn't make sense. Like they're just
I
it's
honestly, I think I was like 28 when someone like laughed at me, and I was like, I'm so good. And I had to like voice note my friend. So I was like, is this not how we say it? And she's like, no, that's how we say it. And I was like, it's a lace around your neck. And they were like, no, it's a necklace. I was like,
yeah.
okay, right.
But the way we say it, it almost sounds like you have no neck. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
who knows? It's really it is the strangest thing, but I think it's funny that everybody like kind of picks up on yours. Um
Yeah. And like another example, this is again when I first came into yachting, I was like, oh, we need more sliced pan. And it took so long for them to figure out what I was saying. And I was like, I don't know how else to say this. We need sliced pan. I don't know. And anyway, it's like sandwich bread. So again, I thought this was a universal way of calling sandwich bread, but no, that is an Irish thing. So yeah, I'm the one with the weird sayings.
See, I actually knew what you were saying when you said sliced pan, but only because I honestly don't even know how I know that. But
Oh, okay. Well,
I
then maybe
knew
I'm
that.
Irish at some stage.
I am not Irish in any way. I'm Italian, but I knew that, but it just we don't say I just say bread, honestly.
Well, this was English people I was speaking to, and they were like, "What are you saying?" They were like, "I don't. Yeah, it's just bread, bread." But in Ireland, it's like specifically like that sandwich bread that comes in the plastic
Oh,
wrapper. So if you say sliced pan, you're not going to get like a baguette. Like
right.
you're going to get that bread.
Well, that makes sense because if you have so many different types, so yeah, if you wanted something specific, you think it would have a special name. So,
From this conversation, we're figuring out the Irish are pretty smart. So
yeah, I think so. Um, All right, here's a fun one. If the ocean could write your performance review, what would it say about you?
Oh gosh. Ooh, okay.
5 stars.
Oh, well, I hope so. Probably not. Probably she strives for 5 stars, but lacks a little bit here and there. And I would say the ocean would say I was kept pretty calm. I good sturdy feet, solid. I could really, no matter how rocky it gets, I am the sturdy one, whether it be physically or metaphorically. Um, I would say, oh God, that's so difficult.
I think you're nailing it. I like that.
I
Like,
think it would say
modern.
I try hard, definitely. Whether I succeed or not, the effort is a solid A+ there. And that I could probably work on being a little less messy, being a little less emotional, and kind of yeah, being more focused on the job and less on getting hugs from boys.
That's okay. I feel like, but see, the ocean's kind of messy. Life is
It-
messy. So I feel like it would give you a pass for that.
okay, I like that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, me and the ocean are friends.
Yes, I would imagine so now. It's like this relationship that you have that is always calm and
Yeah,
steady.
well, I definitely, the ocean has always treated me very well, so I do think I'm very accepted.
Yeah. And see, and that's wonderful because the ocean can sometimes not be. And glad that
Definitely
it's always
wrong.
been pretty good to you.
No, no.
But honestly, like you've lived so much of your life in front of cameras, and reality TV is such a strange mirror, like half truth, half edit. So when you watch yourself back, do you ever think yes, that's me exactly, or oh God, that's the edited version of me? Like, has there ever been moments that stand out to you?
The one thing that's really surprised, I'm funnier than I realized I am.
Love that.
I'll say stuff and I'm like, was that me? And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, that was it. I'm like, God, that was funny. That happens a lot. That happens like 3 or 4 times, like in a season. And it's at times when like I don't remember it. So
Yeah.
like these really non like important moments when we're filming, that like these like kind of whipping moments, and I'll say something and I'm like, God, I'm quick. So that I love. That's always a big plus. Um no, I think most of it I am just like, oh, that is me, and that's embarrassed. Like there are moments where I really cringe and I'm like, I wish I could blame someone else for that, but I am fully responsible for those actions. So, yeah, I think that's the only kind of thing that I've learned, that I'm funny and that I also make terrible choices.
But see, and I know for you, they seem like you cringe, but I have a feeling that those are the moments that your fans love because it makes it entertaining. Not for
Probably.
you, but for everybody else, it's great.
That's okay. I don't mind. Look, it makes it worthwhile if everyone else is entertained, and I genuinely mean that. It really does. It's worse if you make those decisions and everyone else is like, oh, get her off our screen. She's a terrible person.
See, I that has to be like such a wild experience because you're living something in real time and then it's almost like it's repackaged for millions of people to see. And there are no takebacks.
No,
Oh,
no, there aren't. And yeah, you got to go in there. You got to be strong. You got to stand by your decisions, because you really live it a year later, and sometimes several years later. Like people message me, being like, "Oh, we've just watched your first season," or things like that. And so I definitely think being like very comfortable and confident in your decisions is really important to be able to enjoy this experience. Because obviously, there's things I regret or I wish I did differently, but overall, I'm somebody who kind of, yeah, really stands by what the decisions I make, and especially in those moments. But not everyone does, and that definitely makes it less enjoyable.
and I think you found the trick. I mean, keeping that part, the parts of you that nobody can edit, your truth, your peace, and your
Yeah.
humor. And so I think you found that.
The
Make
last few
the guess.
saying like, I was only talking to a producer recently about this, that you do go into it and you give your full authentic self and you really try to be the most, unfiltered, honest person you can be. And sometimes that can be a bit hard because sometimes when you make bad decisions or, you're portrayed in not the best way, I think you start to question being like, is this me? Is this, but I think what I've learned really in the last kind of 2 years that really helped me is I'm like, this doesn't define me. These moments don't define me. Like no moment defines us, any of us. And, if you make a bad decision, which we all do, or make a mistake, you can forgive yourself and other people can forgive you. We just don't have to rewatch it. So I think like learning to like forgive myself and learning to be like, just because I did something 5 years ago, it doesn't mean I'm still that person. It doesn't even mean I was that person the next day. It could have just been a mistake in the moment. So that's definitely really helped me. Honestly, just enjoy the experience more.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's a really important lesson to learn. I always tell my kids, when they make a mistake, I said, it's not about the mistake, it's about what you do after that
Exactly,
shapes who
exactly.
you
How you
are. So
forward. Yeah.
we're gonna make mistakes. So I
Mm.
think what you just said, like that's such an important lesson to put out there, especially for younger people to learn. And it's a hard lesson to learn. So
No, totally. And I think, to make anything enjoy and not to sit in those feelings and, like you said, to take away from them, to reflect on them, but not to, be like, I made this mistake. Is this the kind of person I am? And I think with the show, going on for a year and then, having to rewatch it and having to, you moved on from that, but you're having to, and then you have to train yourself and be like, it's okay. That was a year ago. We've moved on from that, even though I'm having to rewatch it and relive it through social media or press. I'm like, that's okay. We've forgiven that version of Daisy. We've moved on. That was a year ago.
that has to be really difficult, but I'm glad that you found a way to kind of show yourself some grace in those moments because that definitely would be hard, but it also is very rewarding that you are able to find yourself that grace in yourself too.
Yeah, just I think honestly, it's tough to go through it, but then it just makes you a stronger person. And yeah, and I'm able to take that skill now, even long after TV or below deck or anything like that. I have that skill to be like exactly what you're trying to teach your children. Like these aren't defining things about us, it's what we choose to do with them going forward.
Right. Absolutely. And so I know you have this project coming up, and I know you can't really talk a lot about it, but this new project with Mark, the one that everybody's whispering about, but nobody knows anything about. If you had to describe it without giving anything away, what does it feel like?
I think for me, it's a really exciting way. Sorry, I'm charging my phone.
No, you're
That's
fine.
I'm moving it around. I think for me, it's a really exciting way. I think, like I touched on it, like Below Deck has been such a great way for the viewers to get to know me, but there is a filtered version there of me, and not because of the cameras, but because it's work. I take my job very seriously, and like I'm still a chief stew in a super yacht. And so there are things that I feel like I'm still filtered in areas. So this new project is a way, I think, for the audience to see a whole new other side of me, get to know me on like a more personal level on, yeah. And so that I'm really excited for. Um I hope.
Yes, that's awesome. So yeah, and without telling us everything, you kind of told us a lot. Um, so this next chapter, I guess, because by the time our viewers see this, it'll be out. So
Mhm.
you had said that you are now in this new era where it's like a new side of you that we haven't met yet. Is there anything you can elaborate a little bit with that?
Yeah, I think I think there's going to be conversations around dating. I think there's going to be conversations around work. I think there's going to be conversations about opinions of what I feel about, what might be happening um, in the world, in pop culture, in current affairs, and, conversations that you just haven't seen my opinions of before. And that I hope that people will probably find entertaining, because I think most people who are around me find my opinions very entertaining.
Yeah.
Because they're like a bit not controversial. There's a little bit like edgier, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for people to see those conversations and things that yeah, people don't see on Below Deck. We're talking about work, we're talking about our interactions with the crew that are there. So I know people think that they know me really well, but there is like so much more there that they don't know, that I'm hoping people will really like to see and enjoy.
I love that. And it sounds like freedom to me.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways it is. I don't, this is me kind of, no pun intended, steering the ship, and
Yeah.
this is my project. And, as much as, Blow Deck is such a huge support and I love filming the show, this is very exciting to be able to do things on my terms and be able to, and like I said, even if I'm being my authentic self in the show, I still have a filter there because I am still at work. I still have a captain. I still have charter guests. I still have a crew. Whereas this is, me and my friend, being able to be, yeah, completely honest, and me, yeah, steer the ship.
Yeah, I love that. So if this project had a soundtrack, I guess, a soundtrack or a scent, stay with me.
Oh, okay. Oh God,
What
you're
would
asking all
it
the hard
be?
questions.
What would it be? Ugh, thinking about it.
Ooh, like for a scent, I think something. It would be something, it would be nice, but it would be a little bit spicy. Maybe like a little bit of a vanilla with like a hint of spice. So like, yeah, not so overpowering that you're like, oh, this is burning my nostrils. But also not so, sweet that you're like, oh, this is boring. So yeah, it's gonna be like a little bit of a vanilla with a hint of spice at the end of it, that you're just like, oh, intrigued by this. For a sound, is the sound enough?
Sure, it could be.
That's such a
It
hard
can be.
question. I love it though.
But now I really want the candle, so it
Look,
sounds
that might be
good.
our next venture. Now we've just brainstormed something in here.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It could like the daisy burn or something. I love
I love that. Yeah, it could be like smelling of daisies with some spice at the end. I love that.
love it. Okay, so if so you've been very, very open about your fertility journey, and that kind of honesty takes serious guts. So kudos to you and thank you so much for sharing it, because there's so many people that resonate with that, and it's almost a comfort to people. So when you decided to share it publicly, what did you hope that people would take away from that?
Yeah, I guess I think I am very comfortable with being honest. And obviously there are like, parts of my life that I wish weren't out there, or that I do keep private. But a lot of it, I would say like 90% of it, I'm very honest, even to the point that like, I really, what kind of pushed me to share it was, I remember being in the pub, and this, I don't know, I can't remember. I think it was a friend of a friend, and I'd mentioned that I was doing it, and she was like, do you mind me asking about it? And I was like, no, of course not. And I could tell she was like quite nervous for asking me, really didn't want to intrude.
Yeah.
And, kind of opened up about that she didn't know anyone who'd done it and things like that. And I remember just the feeling around the conversation of me feeling so comfortable being like, girl, you can ask me whatever you want. Like, it's not that deep. And her just feeling so like, she had to be respectful. And I was like, okay, if this is the way women are going around this conversation, like, I kind of feel like I have a duty with, such a big platform, to be able to be like, it is okay, guys, we can talk about this. It is not it's super normal. It's not a big deal. So I think after that conversation was really what kind of spurred me on to share my journey, and the fact that she had never met anyone or spoken to anyone, neither had I, but I guess I didn't think it was that abnormal. I guess I'm very comfortable like just going out doing the research and getting it, but she didn't. She needed more like people that she knew who had done it or things like that. So meeting her was where I felt like I was like, oh, okay, there are people out there who need to see somebody doing it, who needs to see somebody kind of with them on this journey and make them feel like you're not alone here. So I'm really glad I shared it. And yeah, for me, I don't feel like in any way it's private or anything like that. I'm so happy to answer anyone's questions, share my journey, share my story. Yeah, because it's in my opinion, it's just super normal. But I know not everybody feels like that. So it's nice that I'm able to help people feel more comfortable with it.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you. And it's so powerful. And the fact that you're using your platform to make something so personal feel universal.
Yeah.
Um, and it even helps people and your audiences relate to you even more, and see
Yeah.
that side of you. And
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
it's a really great thing that you're doing. I can't stress that enough because like you said, not everybody is comfortable with talking about it, and but people do need to hear it sometimes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think they're the positive things about social media. Obviously, there's a lot of negative things about social media, but there are positive outcomes from it and communities that have grown and information and all these kind of things. So I think if you are on, a public platform, we do kind of have a responsibility to empower those positive things, which is like a community, which is information, which is helping people feel, if they're not in the same space you are, help them get there, which is a really nice part of that side of the job.
very good. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And that confidence just kind of it's just gives you permission to just live it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, I have to know, Mont Blanc. Oh my gosh, I always say it wrong.
It's okay.
But you traded the sea for the summit. Okay, which
No, I didn't do the summit. I did like around it. I
are
like have to, yeah, I have to like
still.
clarify that because I think people think I'm like scaling. No, I would not have been able to do that, but it was pretty intense what I did do.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, what did that climb teach you that maybe the sea never did? Was there anything that you learned?
Oh, I mean, definitely if I would put my mind to something, I can do it because I mean, one day we hiked for 11 hours. That day I was like, this is an ending. This is where I die. Yeah, it was intense, but yeah, it was just another reminder that if I put my mind to something, I can do it. And another big reminder to always push myself out of my comfort zone. Like I absolutely loved it. I met some amazing people, had an incredible time. Challenged myself, was I was able to, overcome that challenge and succeed at the end of it. So yeah, really for me, it was just another reminder. Yeah, basically, I can do whatever I want if I put my mind to it. And then the second thing is to just always push myself out of my comfort zone. I'm definitely somebody who excels when I'm push myself out of my comfort zone and when I'm happiest. So that was a good feeling to be like, yeah, I remember what this feeling feels like. And yeah, to remind myself to always push myself and do those things that I don't necessarily feel comfortable in.
Yes. Good for you. That's
Thank you.
okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you lived in Ireland, Antigua, France, and London.
Yes. If I wasn't in yachting, they're the places that I've like rented or lived in a house and Brussels.
Perfect. So if
Yeah.
each place gave you a superpower, what would they be?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh.
Okay, let's start with Ireland.
The gift of the gab. Yeah, that is where I got my full personality. That would be my superpower from Ireland.
And cool
Um,
and like cool sayings, cool phrases that are really smart. That too.
yes.
Antigua.
Antigua would um I'm that superpower is definitely Well, I know it's like you're saying like if they could, but I'm gonna go with what they have given me.
That's perfect. I like
Yeah.
that one more.
So gift of the gab, and then the Antigua's definitely was like gave me like, my sun kiss, being out in the water, my love for like the beach and the sun and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, sailing, that was Antigua.
I can't wait to go there someday.
Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
What about France?
France probably gave me like my cultural side. So my love of food, my love of cheese, my love of wine, and just all of those good things in life. Yeah. My Mediterranean kind of
Mhm.
I need to be, kind of like in amongst the castles drinking wine and eating cheese and baguette.
That just sounds wonderful. Like the perfect evening. And what about London?
London, probably my social side, like me being, buzzy and busy and just, yeah, just always moving around, always doing something different, always kind of meeting new people and interesting people. And yeah, just always saying yes to stuff and never knowing kind of where you'll end up, whether it be a gig or a play or, sitting down with a lawyer or maybe, a fashion editor. Yeah, that's what London gave me, my social side.
I love that. Where'd you get your resilience from? Which one of those places would you?
Oh, probably Ireland. Ireland makes you tough.
I could see that. Yeah. And I can definitely see all of those things in you. So it
Oh,
just makes it
great.
very well-rounded human.
Yeah, I love that question. I'm like, yeah, that was a good question.
Thank you. So you've done so many brave things. But what still scares you, but maybe in the best kind of way?
Ooh, I think um yeah, probably doing things and like, for example, like when I did Below Deck, that was, really exciting and it turned out to be an amazing opportunity and something I definitely did the right thing in doing. But there was a real feeling of fear around that, like, if I was going to fail, how I'd be perceived, and could I actually do this? I don't tend to sit in those thoughts too long, not because I'm like arrogant or because I don't enjoy them. It doesn't serve me well because I'll talk myself out of it. So I kind of tend to like, they'll kind of like come up and then I'm like, yeah, I don't have time for this because like, this is happening. I'm going forward. So I guess I guess fear of failure is yeah, it's definitely there. And I think with anything, I think with relationships, that very much exists as well. So that stops me from getting into relationships.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess, yeah, probably fear of failure.
It's so funny that you say that. I know I've been saying this a lot, but I mean, that is my number one fear as well. It's the fear of
It's scary.
terrifying.
Yeah. And and it's not the end of the world and you pick yourself up and you move on. But for some reason, that's something, yeah, that I guess a lot of us are scared of, but that's very much still a real fear of mine. And with anything I do going forward, even if it was filming Below Deck Down Under this year, again, those thoughts were kind of creeping up, being like, fear of failure, fear of not being able to do it. And I'm just like, yeah, we don't have time for that. I have to go now, I have to go film. So I just kind of ignore them.
Yes, well, you found a healthy way to kind of manage that. But I mean, in a sense, that kind of fear it is good in a way because it does keep you centered and grounded and pushing for your best at all.
Definitely. I think, that it's tied in with like imposter syndrome, like that feeling of like you don't belong there but not allowing it to rule yourself so much that you won't take on these challenges or these adventures or whatever it is, but allowing it enough there that it does push you. It does push you to, not be arrogant, to not be like entitled, to be like, no, I've got to prove that I need to be here. I need to show everyone that I deserve that, because really what's driving that is, yeah, that kind of fear of yeah, failure.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna wrap with something fun. Imagine it's late, we're on deck, the cameras are off, you've got a glass of wine and your cheese. We've got to have some cheese in there.
Yes.
If your life now, right now, were a movie, what do you think the title would be?
Oh God.
It's a hard one.
Oh, that is a hard one. Okay. That is a tough one. Um, if my life was a movie right now, what would I name it? It's really hard. I guess like I feel like my name would have to be in the title because
Of
I have
course.
a nice name. It's like a pretty name.
Love your name.
Um, like Dancing with Daisy or something.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, for having being put on the spot, I have to say that's pretty amazing. That's a great name. I like it. Let's
That's
roll
a
with
really hard question. I'm gonna go when I think about it. I'm gonna go and have wine and cheese and think about this.
it. Let me know what you think. If you think of something better, because I think that's pretty great. I really do.
Yeah, I like it. It embodies the kind of adventure that I'm on and, the lightheartedness and,
You're fun.
yeah, the fun and, there's probably going to be some falling in there somewhere and, getting back up. But yeah, we got to keep it lighthearted and happy. And yeah, so we'll go with Dancing with Daisy.
I really love that. I would totally stream it, by the way, just so you know.
I love that. Look, if in 10 years' time we've got a film coming out, I'll give you name credit, okay?
Yes. So you've met every personality imaginable. Who would you least want to share a cabin with? The oversharer, the perfectionist, or the mysterious silent type?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because not it depends because like I wouldn't usually say like an overshare, but I actually quite like oversharing. I think initially what came into me is like an overly positive person. I don't deal with well with that. No, that is not for the cabin space. Don't need that. I'll probably go with like a perfectionist. I don't mind somebody who's clean, but somebody who's a perfectionist where I start to like yeah, try to, feel like I'm walking on eggshells or treading on eggshells. Yeah, I'm gonna say the perfectionist.
Definitely. Now that you say
Yeah.
that, I feel like it would be like walking on eggshells.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to feel I'm clean and stuff like that, but I am very relaxed and I like to, go out and party. I like to stay up late. I like to have people in my room and, have a party in my room. So the perfectionist, we probably wouldn't gel.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think so. They don't, I don't know. I don't know because see, I'm kind of a perfectionist, but not to the extreme. So I guess it would depend on the level.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
That I like somebody who's super clean, but it's just like not somebody who I'm like, especially because you come in late at night, you've been working really long hours. Like maybe I like didn't put my toothbrush back the way I was supposed to. I don't want to feel like, oh my God, I hope they're not annoyed at me, or they do like aggressive like movements or something like that. That would, yeah. So if I had to pick one, I'm gonna say perfectionist.
Absolutely, I agree. So what is one thing that people should know about being a good guest, whether on a yacht or just in somebody else's space? What would you give them advice?
Oh, I think manners just go, so far. Like, everyone says it. You can ask me for anything, and if you're polite about it, I'll usually be fine about it. I think the other thing is people understanding I can't make you have a good time. I think sometimes people come onto a yacht or like even a guest in your house and they expect me to make, and I'm like, no, I'm here to serve you. That is it. Whereas sometimes people really look to me to like, and I don't even, I mean, I'm not an entertainer either. Like I am a server, but even they genuinely expect me to make them have a good time. And like I sometimes I can get like quite like, you know, I guess like kind of short with them or direct with them. And I'm like, I can't make you be in a good mood. Like that's on you. I can give you everything you need, everything you want. I can give you all those tools. But not everyone understands that. So yeah, I would say manners and wanting to be where you are. Like I can't make you want to be there. So that would be my advice to any guest.
That's honestly great life advice in general. Just, you create your own weather patterns. So I think that
Definitely.
That wasn't just a good advice for being a guest. That was like good advice on living your life.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Yay. If you could design your own dream yacht, what would it have in it?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna have definitely some sort of spa. It doesn't need to be massive, but I need to have like a massage room. I'd love like maybe a reformer Pilates, a sauna. Yeah, I'd be very into that now. I would love like I would love like a bar disco room. So
Fun.
like a really, yeah, like a fun bar, like a nightclub almost. That would be, yeah, definitely on there. A massive, massive, massive walk-in wardrobe. Like, I mean, just so big. So, so big. And then finally, probably a really, really beautiful outdoor seating area with just the most elaborate kind of area to sit, drinks, like hosting area. They would probably be my things that I would need.
That is such a vibe. I would totally book that one. I mean, after I won the lottery, but I would book it. Gosh. So when you think about legacy, not just on the show, but in life, what do you want people to say about Daisy Kelliher 10 years from now?
Well, I did. Well, I've always said that when I die, I always want people to remember me as kind. Now, whether they will or not, I don't know. But I've said that for a very long time, well before I was on Below Deck. That is, I really try to be kind, in anything I do because that's when I die. Anything else, or if they say I was kind, I'm fine with that. In 10 years' time, oh. Oh God. I mean, it's pretty simple for me. I don't, I think if in 10 years' time people said, she was highly entertaining, she delivered on what she needed to do, whether that, that was be a Bravo star, work on Below Deck. I mean, I really take my job seriously, and whether that is like being a chief stew or being a Bravo cast member, I want to make my producers happy. I want to make the network happy. I want to make the viewers happy. I had so much, when I finish a season, all I want to know is I was like, was that a good season? I don't even care like how I did. I care, but even I'll make a mistake and I'll talk to my producer and she's like, you're not gonna like this. And then she'll be like, but the viewer is gonna love it. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. Look, I'm here to do a job and that's to entertain people. So I think in 10 years' time, if people are like, she got the memo, she got the note, she turned up to work, I would be super happy with that.
Yeah, I love that. It's so real. Just like you. It's perfect. Um, all right, one last one since we're off the record now. If we were just sitting here without a single camera rolling, even our phone and computer Zoom, is there a story that you haven't ever told on air that you would tell, or
Oh my
maybe you would
gosh.
want to be heard?
A story that I'd want to be told or want I got that is so hard. That is a hard. I don't think so. Do you know, I'm honestly a ridiculously open book.
Mhm. I know. I could tell that.
It would be like I don't honestly that's so I'm gonna have to go away and really think about this. A story that I would want to be heard or that I haven't told anyone. God, I don't think so.
See, and honestly, I anticipated that answer because
Okay.
that right there is why people connect to you because you are open, you're genuine, and you're not afraid to tell the truth in the moment, even when it is a
No, no. That gets me in
yeah.
trouble.
But it's good. It's a good thing, I think. And
I
a
think
lot of
so as well.
yeah, it keeps you grounded because you are so down to earth and you are genuine and it's not like you're mean about it. Like you said, you lead with kindness, you lead with grace and compassion, but you do tell the truth. And
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is like it does get me in trouble, and I'm like, I'm only saying what everyone else is thinking. I'm like, let's cut the BS here. And then, even with stories, I think there's nothing I haven't done that no one else has done. So again, I don't feel any real shame around it. So like I'll say stuff and I'm like, don't tell me you all haven't done this. I'm like,
right. And if they're being honest, they would be like, oh, yeah, I guess we did.
"Hey." Exactly.
Yes. And we have two, I hate for this to end, but we have two signature questions since we are Cool America Magazine. Um, what is one thing that you find cool about America?
I love America. I think I really do. You guys have your ups and downs, but every time I'm over there, it's such a fascinating place to be, and I have so many close American friends. I think I do love the diversity. Obviously, you have a huge space there, which is the size of Europe, if not bigger. And I do love that. I love that you can go to like wine country, you can go down to the south, you can go to the desert. So I think that side of it, the landscape side of it, for me is so beautiful. And also, it's a known thing how like welcoming you guys are and how kind you are and how nice you are. I love that. And we never, never really gets old because Irish people are very kind as well, but in like a different way. You guys are like so happy. We're like we're not used to that. We're like, oh, this is a lot. Um, and another little one is I kind of do love the way you guys embody I guess like, pop culture and that, it's what America's really,
Yeah.
based on. And I actually find it really interesting and fascinating. And I'm kind of here for it. So yeah, I think America's great.
Well, we think you're great. As I speak for America. Um, and what is one thing that you think is very cool about you?
I think I just think what I've done is cool. I think, having kind of, had a particular kind of childhood, and when I look back on myself and I really reflect, which I don't reflect. Sorry, I'm losing light. It's winter over here. I've just noticed
You're
that.
fine. You're fine.
I think, if I do take the time to reflect on my life, which isn't very often, but when I do, I'm like, wow, I like, got up and left London at 25 and got this job at a yacht and, went and sailed around the world for 10 years. Then, I lost my job during COVID and I was like, okay, how am I going to turn this around? And, and it wasn't as like, how am I going to turn this around? And like, I just go and, go on below deck. It was months of like tears and trauma and just being like, I need to do something with my life. And same when I went into yachting, this wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna go into yachting. I had to like reflect and be like, I'm not happy. I needed to figure out why I wasn't happy and the move going forward. And it was really a process. It took about a year to figure out my next move. And same with Below Deck. So I kind of love that. Yeah, I'm not afraid to take risks. And they were they're the best things that I've ever done with myself. So I think that's pretty cool of me.
I agree. Absolutely do agree. Well, Daisy, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us at Cool
Of
America. You're
course.
fearless and always evolving. So whatever's next, you've got the world leaning in, and we really can't wait to see where this new tide takes
Oh,
you.
well, I love that. Honestly, it's been a joy talking to you, and the support from everyone in the US and America has been, it's been a fun 5 years, and I'm excited to see, hopefully long may it continue.
Yes, absolutely. Well, there you have it, everybody. From the sea to the summit or around it. Daisy Kelliher keeps reminding us that real strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it laughs, it learns, and keeps moving forward. Her story isn't just about yachting, it's about evolution, about finding your footing when the ground or the deck won't stay still. She's the proof that being real will always outlast being perfect, and that the best kind of power is the kind that creates its own current. Whatever wave she's chasing next, one thing's certain, Daisy doesn't follow tides, she changes them. I'm Lindsay Vetterol, and this is Cool America Live. Until next time, keep chasing the stories that move you and the people who make them unforgettable. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and catch the next conversation that everyone will be talking about, only on Cool America Live.